Tonight, a devastating turn for the leading vehicle in the World Solar Challenge, and police frustrated about dangerous driving near school zones.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with Louise Hedger begins now.
Good evening. A car competing in the World Solar Challenge has burst into flames south of Port Augusta, creating a grass fire which quickly spread to nearby bushland. Neighbours spoke on how they did everything to contain the blaze before fire crews arrived.
When the Dutch Vattenfall solar team left in first place this morning, they couldn't have imagined their race would end like this.
Suddenly there was smoke into the car and we directly know it wasn't good.
The charred remains of a project that took 14 months of blood, sweat and tears.
Yeah, I feel really devastated that this happened. We were so close to be the winner of the Richmond World Solar Challenge.
The solar car catching fire 40 kilometres south of Port Augusta. The driver escaping uninjured but with only seconds to spare as the fire spread to nearby bushland.
Big black smoke, pure black smoke. As black as that camera, just going up in the air.
Neighbours springing into action, using shovels, a bulldozer and a water cart to control the blaze until fire crews arrived.
Cleared all the rubbish away, and that sort of pulled the fire up, so we contained it.
CFS crews now have this fire under control, but locals admit it could have been much worse.
There are houses around and you've got to get under control. Actually, it could have been a lot worse.
It wasn't the only major incident to occur on the World Solar Challenge circuit, with a driver taken to hospital after strong winds flipped the car he was driving north of Coober Pedy yesterday.
They're so aerodynamic that the air around it, starts pushing it around in unpredictable ways.
Crossing the finish line in first place this afternoon was the Belgian Agoria solar team. A day to remember for some, a day to forget for others. Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 28-year-old York Peninsula man has been charged with 4 counts of drug trafficking following a raid of a Kadina property yesterday morning. Police allege 14 grams of methamphetamine, 30 grams of MDMA and a quantity of liquid fantasy and cannabis were also seized. The man has also been charged with possessing a dangerous article after police allege that a flick knife, knuckle duster and taser were found. He remains in custody and will appear in Elizabeth Magistrates Court on the 22nd of October. Extreme weather conditions have pushed the fire danger season forward by 2 weeks in the York and Mid-North regions, both now starting on November 1st. The CFS has said that a dry winter has increased the chances of fires starting earlier this year than expected. Less moisture in the ground cover of bushland has made it more flammable.
We've seen lower than average rainfalls, warmer than average days. That's meant that we now have vegetation, or as we like to call it, fuel.
The CFS is urging residents living in high-risk areas to prepare a bushfire survival plan. Police in Port Lincoln say they're fed up and frustrated after 11 motorists were nabbed for dangerous driving near school zones in the Eyre Western area. The results were released following a 2-day road safety blitz across South Australia. Nathan Rector has the details.
There was a clear warning by police ahead of this week's back-to-school drop-offs. If you're doing the wrong thing on our roads, you will be caught. But the message didn't get through to some, with 131 expiation notices handed out over the 2-day blitz.
We reported 11 drivers for various driving behaviour, including 3 people for speeding through school zones, which is in itself very disappointing.
South Australian police were out in force Monday and Tuesday with patrols cracking down on driver behaviour. Police visited schools in the Eyre Western area more than 36 times over the blitz.
We still find people who are not doing things like not wearing their seatbelts through school zones, which is a horrible example to set for young children who we're picking up and dropping off.
2 motorists outside the region allegedly tested positive to driving with illicit substances in their system near school zones. Police labelling that behaviour disappointing.
The operation has highlighted as there are still problems with driver behaviour in school zones, so we will continue to police the school zones as we will continue to police traffic.
With the harvest season underway and increased heavy vehicles on our roads, police will continue to be out in force, making sure all motorists drive safely.
Indigenous business owners from around the region have met in Port Augusta to hear new information on securing government contract work. The session discussing the challenges and benefits of obtaining the work. Organisers say it's the perfect time for businesses to contemplate future opportunities as all tiers of government focus on Indigenous participation.
To respond to that, we need to also look at how we make sure that the businesses can actually step up and take up some of those opportunities.
I want them to walk away with, I guess, a bit of an action plan of what they need to do to be contract ready.
Indigenous Business Australia says this is one of many workshops in the town over the coming months. Broken Hill's budding adventurers now have the chance to become real-life treasure hunters thanks to a new app launched this week. The game asks players to solve cryptic clues to find the prizes.
Buried treasure across the outback.
There's been 10 kilos of silver have been put back into the ground in Broken Hill and the surrounding area. And if you find it, it's yours to keep.
A new phone app for destination Broken Hill is now online, providing locals and visitors with portable information about the Far West. But it's the feature game Silver Rush that's taken the limelight, an explorative treasure hunting challenge tasking those playing to solve clues to find silver bars hidden around town.
The game itself is a good way to link people into understanding and moving around Broken Hill.
The goal is for visitors to stay another night in the region and explore the attractions even more. The clues lead to businesses and tourist hotspots like Bell's Milk Bar. Crack the question, follow the trail, and the silver booty is yours. GPS tracking is used to make sure a player is visiting the locations. 10 1-kilo silver bars are up for grabs, plus other little prizes along the way.
It's a cultural journey, it's a historic treasure hunt. There's that Indiana Jones sense of adventure that gets sparked at the mention of finding hidden bars of silver out in the desert.
The Destination Broken Hill app is available on iPhone and Android services. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Monty Python soon to hit the stage in Whyalla and Lifeline to launch its exhibition in Broken Hill. Welcome back. Whyalla High School students are gearing up for their annual school performance. Monty Python will soon be hitting the stage and students are excited to share the classic with an older audience.
Rehearsing for their big debut, students from different year levels putting in countless hours to get this production onto the grand stage.
They've given up some of their holidays as well at their request. They like coming in the holidays to rehearse and be together as a group.
This classic film,
Always look on the bright side of life,
soon to have the curtains open.
Doing Monty Python's Spamalot this year, which is a bit different to all of our other ones, but it's been a good change.
I play Not Dead Fred. I also play the leader of the Knee Knights and Tim the Enchanter.
A comedy throwback, still attracting audiences decades on.
Giving the students an opportunity to learn about that style of comedy, which is very distinct, and I also think it'll be something that the audience will enjoy.
Kicking off October 30th, the community is encouraged to come support these students.
We've got the 2 night shows on the Thursday and the Wednesday, and we've actually got a dinner show that's being catered by our vet class on the Friday, so people can actually come along and have a meal and watch the show as well.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Tony Award-winning Shrek The Musical is set to dazzle its Port Pirie audience when it comes to the Northern Festival Theatre. Local acting group the Magpie Warblers promise it will be a night to remember.
A family favourite from the big screen adapted for theatre fans on the live stage. Shrek the Musical is coming to a swamp near you.
This show is really special and means a lot to me. The hidden message behind it all is that it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside, but it's who you are on the inside.
Port Pirie's Magpie Warblers excited to bring their annual live theatre instalment to the Northern Festival Theatre.
And I think it's really great just to realise that even though we don't come from performing arts backgrounds, you know, this musical theatre and community arts really brings us together.
The cast will be green with envy, with John England landing the lead role. He says it's refreshing to walk in someone else's boots, even if that person is an ogre.
It's really
liberating to step outside that and become someone else for a short amount of time.
The organisers promising a visually tantalising experience.
She's such a quirky role to play because she does make the switch so quickly and she does it so often in the show. So she's actually a lot of fun and I'm really enjoying bringing her to life.
Doors open at 7:30 on November 1st. Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Lifeline Broken Hill is calling for locals to bring their wallets to its annual art exhibition opening tomorrow night. The event is the major fundraiser for the organisation.
Now in its 30th year, the annual Lifeline Art Exhibition is a very popular event on Broken Hill's social calendar.
It's for emerging and existing artists to show their work, and it is one of our major fundraisers that we have.
The show opens tomorrow night with over 50 works on display and up for auction. When a painting is sold, Lifeline Country to Coast takes a 25% commission from the purchase.
Some of my students are even donating what they sell their artworks for back to Lifeline, so it's a really community-based fundraising.
The money will help Lifeline continue to provide life-saving services and develop new ones to support the region, with a focus on mental health. 3,000 people committed suicide last year. That's an average of 8 people a day. Developing campaigns like How's Your Mate, emphasising men's mental health checks, is what the funds go to.
Suicide prevention, our face-to-face services, everything that we do in our community here in Broken Hill and Country to Coast.
The exhibition opens at 5 o'clock at the Geo Centre. If you or someone you know needs help, call Lifeline on 13 11 14. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Lincoln's community has banded together today to help raise awareness for Anti-Poverty Week. More than a dozen local services across the town donated supplies to put on a free barbecue for the crowds. Organisers say the event aims to shine a light on the country's food shortage, with thousands going hungry every day.
We have over 200,000 people living in poverty across Australia, and 20% of those are in Port Lincoln that earn under $400 a week.
Support services were also made available today to help those struggling. The Red Cross is currently looking for volunteers, and for more information visit its website. Whyala's Apex Club has announced the annual Christmas pageant will be held on November the 30th. The event will kick off at 5 o'clock and vacancies are available for businesses to get involved. Organisers say it's an opportunity to celebrate the festive season.
Looking for community participation for both the pageant and the fair and the gardens afterwards. It's good for the Whyala Apex Club and a lot of other community organisations as a bit of a fundraiser, and it's just a festive time of year.
More information can be found online. Stay with us after the break. We'll have your fish and tips and the weather details with Blitz. Hello again. Now let's hear from the experts with this week's fish and tips.
So tell you what, this is one of the best crossover times I've ever seen. I've been talking to some of the anglers at the moment, and there's some yellowfin whiting floating around the place. So, and our usual spots are Barrows Beach and Talawi Beach. So have a look around there, see what you can find. Blue swimmer crabs are starting to come on. You do need to find a deeper pocket of water. And I'd say that the old Germain wreck, if you go and have a shot there, there should be some nice clean crabs in that area. Might find a snapper as well. Don't forget about our salmon trout. There's still plenty of those around the place, and we're coming up to that season where we get a few garfish and whatnot, so have a shot for those over the evenings as well.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fish and Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel the North. Well, the whiting can still be found at the moment. The shitties are hammering the bait, so cast out right out the back and sort of drag those lines back into where you've burleyed up. Squid have all but vanished at the moment. You still get the odd one, so leave the jig out there while you're trying for whiting. Kingfish are around, but people are being a little bit secret squirrel about where they're getting. There's a fair few boats up around the train bridge, but I'll be trying down around the powerhouse as well. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
Hi, Whyala's fishing report this week. The blue swimmer crab action certainly has heated up across Whyala. Definitely out front of Mount Young, about halfway down to Mount Young in the deeper water. They've been running really well. Some boats hitting limits already. Also some nice King George whiting in the same area. Land-based around Whyala, some very large salmon getting caught from the Point Lowly area. Just work the rocky points. They've been hitting the big lures, so get those big lures out and get amongst those.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. We'll start over the Coffin Bay side, but there's been quite a few whiting out around the farm beach grounds and a few good sized garfish as well. Out past the Rysacks, the reefs and the lumps out wide of the point have been producing quite a few red snapper, nanagai, and also a few good sized pink snapper up to about 80 centimetres. Moving closer to home, here in the bay in Lincoln, there has been some whiting up along the North Shore. There's been some yellowfin whiting around North Shields, although they are starting to get a little bit patchy. And some good sized King George have been caught from down around Thistle Island. Well, that's all for fishing tips this week. We'll see you again with more tips next week.
And for a look at what the weather's got in store, here's Britt Aylen.
Well, thanks, Louise. It's been a mostly sunny day about the region. Port Augusta reached 22 degrees, Broken Hill and Port Pirie 21, Whyalla 19, Port Lincoln 18, Adelaide 17. In the skies, cloud pushing towards the east with a low pressure trough. No significant rain over the Gulf today. Moving along to tomorrow on the Gulf waters, southerly winds tending southwesterly at up to 25 knots with seas around 2.5 metres, and the sun will rise at 6:36 in the morning. We can expect mostly cloudy conditions with strong winds about some parts. Port Augusta looking at a top of 29 degrees. Whyalla, Corn, Broken Hill and Port Pirie all 27. Woodner 26, Cleve 24. Kadina 23, Clare 22. Adelaide 21, Port Lincoln 20. Coffin Bay 18 degrees with a slight chance of showers. Looking ahead to the weekend, Port Lincoln and Cleve both looking fine and partly cloudy Saturday and Sunday with sunny conditions expected on Monday. Woodner looking fine on Saturday, sunny Sunday and Monday. Whyalla and Kadina both partly cloudy across the weekend with a sunny start to the new week. Port Lincoln looking fine on Saturday with sunny conditions Sunday and Monday. A partly cloudy weekend expected at Port Pirie and Clare, both looking sunny on Monday, and more sunny days on the way at Broken Hill. And Louise, that's all I got.
Thank you for that, Britt. That's your local news this Thursday evening. Thank you for joining us today. We'll have updates later, but until then, have a lovely evening. Good night.